Welcome to Viben Now, a collection of guided meditations put into podcast form for your easy listening. My name is Vivian Gerard, and I will be walking with you through the intoxicating now moments of life here on this planet. These audios are intended to be used as a full meditation if you want to close your eyes, settle down into a comfy spot, and let your subconscious come all the way forward. Or it can simply be some background conversation where the nuggets of information that you most need will make their way into your awareness. Whichever way it works for you, I invite you to open up and enjoy fully this journey of life that we are all taking together. So much love to you.
Good morning. Happy Soulshine Day. I am so excited to be with all of you. Happy Father's Day to our fathers who are joining us live or listening to the recording later. Let's begin. There is so much that I was feeling as I was in my meditation earlier about what we could look at and where we could take this, and I'm really curious. I'm curious to see where it goes. So let's begin. All right, we're going to start with breath. So catch your breath. If you rushed in and you're just arriving, go ahead and slow your breathing down. And as you're doing your breathing, what I find works really well to calm my body down is do the inhale, like from the bottoms of your feet, pulling air all the way in through your body. And then do the exhale slow and out through your mouth. As you do that, it pulls your energy down into your body. So I'm trying to think what a visual would be. It's kind of like when you fill up with water and then you breathe or you push air into it, you can see the water level going down. It's that same thing. It's like you're pulling air up through your body, and then when you breathe it out through your mouth, you're pulling your energy down into your body and filling up more of you with you. So we'll do a couple together. Go ahead and do a big breath in from your feet. And then an out exhale. Good. Go ahead and do another one. Yeah, you can just feel the container settle as we do that. Let's do one more as people keep arriving in. So go ahead and big breath in from the bottoms of your feet. And out through your mouth. Good. Good. Welcome. Welcome, everyone. So let's imagine that in the center of you is a magnet, and it wants to call all of your attention here to this call. You've created this space in your schedule, in your day, to really pause and look inside yourself and see what's there, see what's ready to be explored, what's ready to shift. And it's hard to do that when our attention is outside of us, trying to radar on everything else or make sure that the world is, functioning fine when we pull our attention or support away from it. Many of us are space holders on this call, and we're used to tracking people. We're used to making sure everyone outside of us is okay. And it's a beautiful gift. What's most important today is the gift you give yourself, which is to just hold space for you. Fill yourself up so that when you go back out into all of those relationships and activities, you bring such a sense of presence with you that the people you engage with around you feel more connected, feel more supported than they were when you were halfway in, halfway out, because your energy is divided into lots of places. So as we begin, I want you to imagine that the magnet in the center of you is sending out a signal, like a beacon, a light, a pulse, and it's calling back any place where you've left some of your attention besides here. Sometimes that feels a little tricky, right? If it's children that we're watching, or parents, or something really important is going on in your day and you're holding space for that. It feels like if we pull our attention back in, that thing or person might collapse, right? So what you can visualize, if it's helpful, is imagine you can just send love from source. You can just hook that person, thing, activity up to a direct connection to source. You can just visualize it from the center of the heavens, from out in outer space, right? Wherever you picture source exists in the fullness of it. Imagine there's just a cord or a connection or a light that can shine right onto that person or thing that you might want to separate from. Then that person or thing can choose to accept that support, but you know there's something holding them. So it gives you permission to then slide your energy out and back into you. Yeah, so if you track a lot of things, this might take a couple minutes. So we're just going to do it as a group, right? There's no rush. We have plenty of time. So just feel yourself as the magnet, holding your own space. Those things that pop up in your attention first, the energies, the people that immediately come forward for you as soon as I say this, those are the ones holding the most of your attention. Not because they're grabbing at you, I mean, perhaps they are, but they only have your attention because you gave permission for your attention to be there. So in this moment, you can hook them up to source and then give yourself permission to take your energy back. Right? And just do it one by one. If there's a whole lineup, it's okay. We're going to do this as a group, and there's plenty of time for you to do it. So just visualize all those places and people and things that are connected to you, that you shower your love upon. Hook them up to God or source, and let that energy support them. And pull your power, your energy, your attention back into you. Yeah, if it feels like it's kind of crowded inside of you as this energy comes back, just redistribute it through your body. So put some magnets at the bottom of your feet and let your legs start to fill up with your energy. Yeah, some of you might be like, whoa, what is this thing I have called a leg? I don't usually feel that because my energy is up high. Fill yourself all the way down to your feet with your energy. And keep your attention on you. So feel the strength of the magnet inside of your body, sending out a signal and pulling all of you back into this moment. Whatever feels super important, it can wait. It can wait another hour until you can put your attention back on it. Use your breath to feel yourself fully in your body. Yep. If you're gritting your teeth or hunching your shoulders, relax the muscles. Let yourself just be in your body and have it be easy. Right? You don't have to fight yourself as your energy comes back. You can just feel it as it arrives. Good. All right, one more scan outside of you. So send the signal out one more time. Any last pieces that are ready to come back in this moment, let's pull them back into the center of you. And then down to your feet. And if your legs are filled up, fill up your body cavity all the way up to your neck, into your head. Yeah, most of your heads are full. You might want to send the energy down. Heads definitely feel pretty full. Good. Good. Okay, let's also put an edge on our space today just so you can feel what it's like to be fully in here, in this community of all these amazing people, but just be you, right? So you can be around amazingness, but not have to leak into it or pull from it. You can just be your own amazing soul in this community of amazing souls. So a way to play with that, this is my go-to whenever I feel like my boundaries are wobbly. Go ahead and just imagine where your feet are connecting to the earth. Just sort of put in like a gold mat, kind of like when a hairdresser stands on that black thing, the padding thing that helps them not have so much pain on their legs from standing all day. It's a circle around the chair that people sit in. So imagine there's that same sort of circular shape under your feet, and it's gold, and it's padded, and it's so luxurious. It's underneath your feet, and it goes out maybe 2 feet circumference around you. If that feels too wide, you can make it 1 foot around you. And then just visualize, put your attention on it, and visualize that from the bottom of the mat, 360 degrees around you, a bubble can start to form that you're in the center of. So it can look like a plexiglass shield that suddenly starts to go up and around you, like a superhero power. And you can feel it. It comes all the way up around in front of you, behind you, the sides, coming up past your bottom, past your shoulders. It's going to come up over your head, and it's going to form like a dome at the top of your head, and it's going to seal shut. Yeah, use your breath. So if you're feeling panicky, make it bigger. Expand the space wider. Add more space. All right, give yourself 2, 3, 4 feet if you need it. Circumference around you. There you go. Yep, use your breath. If it feels a little wobbly, make it a little bit thicker consistency. So if it keeps flopping, for example, above your head and it feels like something's hitting you on the top of your head, just imagine you can gently push it up with your hands. And then you can make it a little firmer so it's maybe more fiberglass. So you can still see out, others can see in. You're not isolating yourself from the world, but you're just feeling for a moment you, in you, but also in this community. If it feels like it's coming in too tightly behind your back, just gently push it back so you have a little more space behind you. Sometimes for me, when I do this exercise, it feels like it's crowded, or maybe there's energy in here that isn't mine. Sometimes for me that looks sort of like I see dark spots, or I get a feeling of wanting to push something away, but I'm in this bubble and I can't push it away, so what do I do with it? If you're having any of that resistance or sensation, you can just imagine at the bottom of the floor on that gold mat, you can have a little one-way trapdoor that opens out into the earth, and you can just command in your space, right, any energy that feels out of alignment, toxic, yucky, not mine, right? You can just use your breath, send it out through that trapdoor into the earth. This might take an instant, it might take a minute, right? So you just feel whatever isn't yours going down and out. And then when it feels complete, you close the trapdoor. And then you add your breath and your energy back into the space. Yeah, much calmer. Much calmer. Good work. Yeah, so just feel you in you for a moment. It's nice, right? Feels good. Feels good. So funny. That was not part of the agenda I wrote out for today, but it felt necessary. All right, let's ground. Let's ground. If the bubble feels good to you, keep it up. You can keep it up the entire way through the whole call. You can drop it anytime you need to. If you feel like you don't need it, just go ahead and dissolve it. Put some sea salt water splashing around the edges, dissolve it, but just know that's your energy space that you have the right to hold for yourself. And the only way someone can come in and out of there is if you've given them permission. So perhaps one of the things you want to play with this week is, who are you giving permission to that comes in and out of your space, and does it feel good? Do you want to continue giving permission to that person or that group? And if not, you don't have to. You don't have to. You can put your bubble back up and gently push them away. All right, let's ground. Go ahead and feel your feet on the floor. So if you're sitting cross-legged, go ahead and make sure there's room at the bottoms of your feet for energy to come in and out. So don't actually overlap your ankles. Just have them be sort of side-by-side yoga style in front of you. If you're laying down, you can visualize that the energy is going to go through your heels into the earth. Okay, so from the bottoms of your feet, let's start growing roots down into the earth. Yep. So you could resist this process also, which is totally fine. What that might feel like is you've checked out and you're hearing me right now and you're like, what did she say to do? If that's the case, what we're talking about is connecting to the earth. And for those of us who spend a lot of time in our minds and analyzing and trying to figure things out, grounding feels like the last thing we would want to do. Actually, it's the most important thing to do, because if you can allow yourself to be supported underneath, it's like the foundation of a house, right? The foundation of a building. I used to be in construction. I did marketing for this really big firm here in town, and they were building this building that was going to be the tallest building in Cincinnati, which, the tallest here is 41 stories. Chicago, New York, it's way different. But here, it was a really big deal. It's going to be the tallest building in, 50, 60 years that had ever been built. And so the engineering of it was fascinating to watch, because the first thing they had to do to build this tall skyscraper was actually go down into the earth. And it was so deep. It was so deep. Like you would stand at the edge of what they were working on to clear out the foundation, and people were tiny. They were so far down in the ground because it needed that depth in order for the height to be stable. It also needed width, right? It was much wider underneath the ground than it was on the top level. And so that foundation that was built created the structure, the stability, the strength for everything that was going to be piled on top of it. It's the same for us as humans, right? Gravity exists for a reason. We picked this planet because it allows us to feel the support of nature, the support of roots, in order for us to stretch as high up as we want to reach, to source, to other planets for some of us, to cosmic journeys, right? You need the rooting to be able to hold all of that. So, if you're still with me and you haven't checked out, or if you're just coming back because I called you on checking out, feel your feet on the floor. And then just allow tiny roots to begin to grow. So they can just be little like roots of a rose. Roses have such tiny little roots in a clump compared to trees where they're wide and deep. So just start with what feels comfortable for you. Allow some of the roots to grow underneath the building that you're in. Down, let's see if we can go 10 feet down. So just feel the roots starting to make their way through the earth. Yep, and then when they reach 10 feet, they can start to go as a web sideways and out. Right, 10 feet out in all directions. And when you do that, you suddenly have 10 times 10, so you've got this square space that's 100 feet. Right, and for some of you, that may be as far as you want to go. It's perfect. If that's the case, just hang there. Just feel, hang is the wrong word, ground there, right? Just feel how the 10 feet down, 100 feet wide is actually in the dirt underneath your building. If you want to go deeper, increase by whatever multiple works for you. So perhaps you want to go 500 feet down, 1,000 feet down, a mile down, right? All of it is perfect for you. So allow your roots to start to go as deep as they'd like to. If you feel like a trembliness in your legs, it's just energy connecting through the earth. So just set the direction of the energy to go down, right? So it doesn't get trapped in your body. Just feel the magnets at the bottom of your feet pulling the energy to the bottom and then into the roots. And so energy has a pathway, and the pathway is down. When you get to the depth that you want to go sideways, go out. All directions, behind you, in front of you, to the side. And then if you want, diagonal also, further down. Use your breath to start sending anything in your body that feels like it wants to be released into the earth, down through your body to your feet, and then out into the earth. Yeah. And there may be a lot of energy that moves today because you've really called yourself into this space, into this call. And when you're really here, fully present, you may find that there's just a lot that feels heavy, or it's intense to have it all here, so you want to actually move some of it into the earth and feel the support of the earth holding you. So if that's the case, just keep the pathway moving through your body down to your feet and into the earth. I want to share something as you're moving that energy. There's this meditation summit that's been on this past week that has fascinated me because it shows all these different ways that people meditate. And one of the guests was this woman, Snatam Kaur, who makes the most amazing music, chants that are just so profound. I love her albums. I have 2 of them, and I listen to them every day. And she was on video, so I'd never actually seen her speaking and talking and, her presence. Total girl crush. I mean, I was just all over how amazing she is. But what I loved at the beginning, she was just sitting really calmly and centered and grounded, and she was starting to guide the group through a process. And right at the beginning, she said, we're going to visualize that the energy comes through the center of you and it comes down and then connects into the earth. And she said, even if you think you're making it up, or you don't actually feel anything happening yet, or you don't see any visual when you close your eyes, she said it doesn't matter, because the energy, the attention, follows what you're visualizing and creating for your body. She said, just know it's happening whether you feel it or see it or not. And I love the validation of that. I've always known that, but to hear her say it, it's true, right? It's a practice. So just trust in this moment that you and the earth have created this partnership in a way that perhaps is new, or perhaps is just more powerful today, even if you're not feeling it. Good. So one last run through your body. Anything that's ready to be released into the earth, go ahead and run it down and through to your feet. And then through your feet into the earth, into those roots that you created. And then allow the roots to just hold you with whatever we look at today. Okay. Source. Love this part. I love all of it. I love all of Soul Shine, but I really love the part where we hang out with Source, because it's always a surprise. Okay, for today, where is Source? Yeah, let's go in. Let's go into that center, in the center of you. So it may feel, I'm going to have you check in for yourself. It may feel unknown, right? Like somewhere in my body, I'm sure Source visits with me or holds space for me, or is the original spark that created my body and my life, right? I think that's a general statement, but I think many people believe that somewhere in our body there must be Source, or how else would we have breath, right? How else would we have mind and imagination and soul and essence? And perhaps that place inside of you isn't a physical spot you can put your fingers on. But for today, perhaps just create, like Snatam Kaur said, what if you could just set the intention that, for example, your heart space is where Source exists in this moment, right? Just for now or just for today. And if that is true, if we follow these theories or ideas, if that is true, and Source exists in some essence inside of your heart space, then there would be a way to communicate with that energy, that consciousness that is inside of you. Yeah, so what if you turn inward, and that may be maybe like a shrinking of your visual of yourself. So suddenly you're a mini version, right? So it's a mini version of Viv that's going right into my own heart space to see, can I feel or visualize a form of Source that I could actually have a conversation with or a communication with? So play with that for yourself. What if you can go into your heart and you can just get a sense of what your God or Creator feels like inside of you? Yeah, if it feels like there's nothing, perhaps you can imagine there's a pair of glasses you can pick up that lets you put on some sort of lens so that suddenly you can see something. For me, I feel more of a pulse. Like if I could put words to it, it's like my heartbeat has a rhythm. And I can feel when I come into my heartbeat, that rhythm is actually the pulse, right? It's the pulse of God, of Source. It's the pulse of life. It's the pulse of the planet. It's a rhythm, a beating that my body and soul align with, that connects me to everyone. So take a moment, just feel or sense, and it's okay if you just hang out here, right? Feel or sense inside of you what your God or Source feels or looks like. And you may need to go deeper inside. What would your Source have you know today? And trust it. It may be a word or a feeling in your body. It may be an image. You may need to turn around, explore the space. You might see a sign, or you might feel a color. You can just hold that, whatever that is, hold that tight, and know that's something you can explore later today, tomorrow, next week. Right? It's just an opening for you, a new way to dialogue with your God. Yeah, we're actually going to stay here. If it feels intense to you to be in your heart space in this way, do the same thing you did with a aura bubble space around you. Just stretch out your heart a little bit. Right? The visual feels like it has to stay small inside of our body, this certain size, and we're trying to be mini inside of that. All of this is imagery. So you can expand your heart space wider than your body, wider than the room you're in. And then feel how that lets you breathe a little easier, perhaps. Yeah. You can also run energy down to your feet, into the earth, and just let it be emotions or energy that moves through you. Right? So it doesn't get stuck or feel heavy or intense. It's just awareness. Okay, so the topic for today is, it's funny, I had like 5 things all written across one line, and yes, it's Father's Day, right? Definitely, I want to explore this relationship we have with our fathers. But as I was sitting in my meditation, I could feel that it's not just about fathers, it's about parents and children, students and teachers, the role between the masculine and the feminine. Fathers, they wrap up so much of all of that, and we define ourselves based on what we learned growing up and the experiences that shaped us. And so it really ripples out much further than just what's your relationship like with your dad. But it begins there, right? It begins before that, but our journey with it begins there. And so what I wanted to look at is an understanding of our fathers, our dads, in our daddies for some of us, right? I've never used that, but some of my friends, that's the name that they call their dads, and there's such love in that. That relationship evolves and shifts from when we're little until when we're older, our parents have transitioned. And what feels like a good starting point is actually earlier than that. Before we were even here in the physical form to be the children of our parents, going back to when our dads were little. So I wonder, as you sit in this space, in your heart space, imagine you can either put up like a movie screen or feel this in your body, right? Just trust, just like Snatam Kaur had said in her video. Just know, because you're putting your attention on it, there will be information that you will see or feel or sense, because we're in this community that is safe to explore it. And there's no expectation, but it's an opening if you choose to look at it. And actually, before I begin that, I just want to say, not everyone's relationship with their father is good. Many have very complex relationships with fathers. For some, there is no relationship because the father either isn't here or hasn't been in their lives. And so there's an imagined relationship or an energetic relationship that is very confusing at times, because you compare that to the physical relationship perhaps that you see your friends or family have with their fathers. For example, my relationship with my dad is a really beautiful one, and I'm blessed. I know that. I'm very blessed. My cousins on my mom's side, their dad was killed in a car accident when my aunt was pregnant with my cousin. So my cousin, who's my age, had a couple of years with his dad, but he was so little he doesn't remember. And then my cousin, who is younger than me, has never met her dad in the physical form. And so sometimes we create relationships with other males in a way to fill that void, right? So my cousin is close to my dad. My grandfather raised her, and both of them raised both of them, and was a disciplinarian. And so she had male role models in her life. Both of my cousins, I keep saying she, both of them had male role models, but they weren't dad or father in the sense that they saw in those around them, in their relationships. So as I say all of that, this is the part that always feels so tricky. I believe, I'll state it in my words, I believe that we are creators of our experience always, and we call in as souls those experiences that are going to bring us the things that we most need to learn or explore or expand into. And so the relationship we have with our parents from the beginning, from conception through childbirth, through all of our lives, we called in those parents that are going to teach us the lessons that our souls wanted to learn. As humans, it feels really screwed up sometimes, right? Like, why would I call in a father or a mother who does these things? Why would I have abandonment as a child? How could that possibly serve my soul, right? Abuse, violence, like, how is that even something that my soul would have asked for? And the place perhaps that you can explore this from is, what if Source inside of you knows something that your human mind just can't wrap your hands or head around? And so those relationships, as heavy or complex as they feel, there are lessons and expansions and depths and heights that your soul can go to in those relationships that none other could fill in the same way. And so the journey that we're all taking, right, being here as a human, a soul in this human body, it's how do we expand, how do we continue opening our heart space, continue feeling our solar plexus, our I am in this world, no matter what is going on around us, no matter who we call in, right? Always, 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 we're opening our heart and we're settling more into who I am. Opening our heart, more of who I am. And finally, eventually, perhaps, the heart and the I am can merge. Oh, that's so beautiful. I've never seen it like that before. They can merge. And when they are collaborating and partnering and dancing together, the magic is your purpose in this world, your gift in this world. That is so beautiful. That is so beautiful. I've never seen that. Thank you for that gift, everyone. That was amazing. I hope you can feel that for yourself, right? There is this space where the two combine. And our work is to just keep leaning in and exploring it. Okay, so let's get to the fathers. So in this heart space, feel your grounding underneath you again. Feel your feet on the floor. Feel the roots taking you down, 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 holding you steady, right? You have a steady foundation underneath you. What I would love for us to look at from this heart-tender space inside of ourselves with Source here, even if you don't see or feel Source, with your Source in you, holding you. I want you to see if you can feel or sense or visualize your father, you specifically, your dad, as a young boy. So you can go 2, 3 years old, maybe 5, 6 years old. Right. See if you can visualize the home or the home life of your dad. You can visualize the parents, right, your grandparents, as they were younger, as they were parents of young children, which is so intense to raise little ones and be everything they need you to be. It's so much pressure, right? So visualize your dad as the child and your grandparents in that role of trying to figure shit out when you don't have a path and you don't have people around you who can perhaps give you what you need or support you in the way you would like. Visualize the siblings if your dad has any siblings. My dad had 4, There were 5 of them with my grandmother, and my grandfather was an invalid for a long time. The chaos of her house, right? The heaviness on her shoulders to have to monitor all of them, feed all of them. Yeah, so just feel what the environment energetically around your father was like at that time. See if you can see him looking at his father. Right? Was he picked up and held and hugged and kissed? Or was he taught to be soft or gentle to the feminine? If you're so lucky, your dad was taught as the masculine to honor the feminine. Right? I don't know that there were a ton. That's a general statement, but I'm not sure how many of the masculine of my parents' generation or their generation before them had kind, loving, supportive masculine holding the tender, strong feminine. Yeah, and then see if you can scan out a little bit from the house. So if you can feel the community of when your dad was a little boy, right? What was the community like? For my dad, they lived in the country, so you just go do what you want. You got to work when you're old enough to have a paper route, and then you got to work 2 jobs when you're in high school. College isn't even an option, right? If you do college, it's only because it's paid perhaps through the military, and so there's this huge obligation on the other side of education. Right? See if you can feel the vibration of the community of the planet at that time when your dad was a little boy. Yeah, and when I was feeling this in my own meditation earlier, all I could think of was wars. Just poverty and wars and struggle. Killing, the masculine needing to be the male who would kill for others to protect. What a price, right? And so if you can feel the collective sense of the planet, the expectation of what the masculine was supposed to look like at the time that your father was young. See if you can feel, and this might be a subtle thing for you. See if you can feel what the fathers that we all had started to do with their heart space. Right? For me, I just sense a lot of protection around it. Right? A lot of buffering, a lot of walls that start to be put up to make sure it's safe. Yeah. Okay, and then allow yourself to see your father as he started to grow up. So perhaps he was 5 or 6 here. See him in school. If he started working when he was a teenager, how he handled his job. If he didn't work, if he chose a path of not working or of doing something for the military, or perhaps if he fell into addictions, what that path looked like. Just see if you can, from your heart space with Source next to you, just sort of follow the path of what your father started to move through. My dad, from a very early age, had lots of feminine energy around him, and they were pretty vocal, and they were pretty powerful, right? I just feel for him. There was a lot of woman bossing going on in my dad's life from an early time, and he married a very strong woman, with very strong opinions of what life should look like. And so his journey as the masculine has taken a lot of effort. Right? A lot of his pattern has been to travel and then come back, so he could only handle the intensity of the family in small doses. And so many of his jobs were jobs where he'd be gone for 4 or 5 days at a time. At one point internationally, he'd be traveling 2-3 weeks at a time. So when he came back, he could actually handle how intense, it was to be home. Allow yourself to go all the way through till now. And what I'd like, if you can do this, is visualize your father, and you can put as much distance as you need to feel safe or protected or buffered, right? If you can visualize your father sitting across from you. For some of you, you might want to hold hands. For others, you may need like what you see when you're in jail, those walls where no energy can come through. You're on your side, I'm on my side, and we are not connecting. All of it is fine. Whatever your system needs is what I recommend for you. Another visual that I love is to imagine a waterfall, a sea salt water waterfall coming in between the two of you. So if things come up, emotions come up, projections come up, you can just dissolve it in that sea salt water between the two of you. And you can run that waterfall as wide as you need, as high and deep as you need. Okay, so visualizing your father on the other side across from you. If it's true that our work in this lifetime is to expand and grow from the relationships that we're in, to deepen the understanding we have of our soul, of our gifts, of our purpose of being here, then the logical conclusion to follow is that there's something that your father is teaching you or can teach you that will expand your soul. And by that I don't mean destroy your soul or wound your soul. I mean expand it. So if the relationship is a good one, that may be an easy thing for you to just suddenly start feeling 5, 10, 20 things coming through, because that's just what you and your father agreed to before you came here. So if that's the case, just allow the wisdom to come forward. It might be feelings or colors or words or phrases. And you can keep doing that while I talk. If that's not your journey, right? If your journey with your father, your agreement was, we're going to have a very complex relationship, right? Because in that complexity are going to be gifts I could not get in any other way. What if for today, because again, it's just an opening, what if for today there's one nugget, one piece that your heart can allow you to see in a way that you haven't seen before? That one thing might be, this one is so beautiful, but it may just be, I loved you enough to come be the asshole in your life, to push you into places that I knew you could take yourself into and through. What if that's the gift? I mean, that's such a contract, right? To be the one that hurts you, like underneath that must be such deep soul love. I've read lots of books on soul contracts and soul purpose of being here, and one of them was talking about the alcoholic, and it said the alcoholic is the toughest of the paths to pick, or addiction of any kind is the toughest of the paths to pick, because you have to take your soul, your human body, into such dark places in order to be able to find your own light, to find your connection to Source. And when you can do that, when you can find your own light in that pain, your soul will soar. It will never be the same again when you find it for yourself. And I have relationships with people who have addictions, and such compassion opened up for me when I was reading that, such respect for the alcoholic, right? I certainly didn't have the courage to pick that path in this lifetime, right? I did not pick that path because I know, I've seen the pain that you have to go into. So just feel for you in this moment with your Father on the other side of the glass wall or the waterfall. What if that is a possibility? You don't even have to accept it, but what if? What if there's a slight chance that love is actually what's underneath all of the story, even if you can't quite accept it in this moment? I'm going to give you a few minutes of just being in this space without my voice so that you can feel or heal whatever is alive for you right now. And if that feels too much, you may send your Father's energy away and just surround yourself with the sea salt water and just heal you, right? Just feel Source holding you as you sit in this space. So I'm going to let you navigate this piece for a few moments, and then I'll bring us all back in again. Okay. You can stay in this space after we finish the call in a few minutes if you want to, and do whatever feels right to you. But for this moment, if you still have your Father in front of you, go ahead and just complete whatever the connection or communication is right now. Yeah, you can put your hand on your heart and just feel whatever is there and be okay with just that. And then you can either ask him to pause if you want to continue with this when we're done. Ask him to pause and scoot back a little bit, or if you feel complete, you can send his energy away with gratitude for whatever he brought to you today. And then I want you to feel as you sit in your space. So Just feel your body, you in you. We're going right back to what we looked at the beginning of the call. You in you. If part of you has followed him or is trying to hold on to him, right? Even if you're going to continue this after the call, just explore this in this way for a moment. Pull your energy back into you. You can hook him up to gold if you want, to source. Pull your energy back into you. Redistribute it through your body, so send it down to your feet if you're up in your head more right now. Settle your body if it feels like, whoa, that was intense. One of my clients always says it like that, and it's so cute. He's like, oh, that was a lot. That was a lot. Yeah, and it's all energy, right? So it's going to carry the heaviness we assign to it. So what if in this moment you feel your energy in you and you lighten your body, right? Anything that feels heavy, you can send it down to your feet like a weight, like in a Tom and Jerry cartoon, and the weight just gets dropped to the floor, right? Drop it all the way down to the floor and let any of the heaviness go into the earth. That is the role she wants to play for us, right? Send me your troubles down into the earth, recycle it. So go ahead and drop anything that feels sticky or heavy. Come back to the center of your heart space again, and I just want you to feel or explore, how are you still connected or entangled with your Father's energy? And notice it. It does not mean you have to shift or clear anything in this moment. Just notice the ways in which you are entangled, or where you have no connection at all, right? Whatever it is for you, just be aware of it. And then this is something for you to continue exploring, right? So this work of Soul Shine, this call space that we create, it's to bring topics forward. It's to bring awareness to something that you're exploring in your life or that you have been avoiding perhaps. And then your work, right, as a conscious creator of your own life, your work is to take that during the week and feel it, sense it, explore it, meditate on it, walk if you're a walker, do yoga, whatever it is, allow the information, the energy to move through you so that you're constantly expanding. So you're not handing your power to this call on a Sunday to have something come up for you. You're taking it and you're weaving it into your life and you're expanding it. I set up the Facebook group this morning, well, over the last couple of days, but I shared it this morning, which was fun. At first I thought it would be heavy, but it was so fun. This community, right, all these people who are on the call live and will be listening to the call now and months, years down the road, this space that's being created is for a community. So it's our community. It's not mine. It's ours. We're co-creating it together. So allow yourself to be held in this cocoon, this community. Share your experiences. Allow it to expand you and expand others, and we start weaving energies in a way that supports each and all of us. So yeah, heavy stuff for Father's Day, or wow, an opening into something I hadn't considered perhaps, or I hadn't allowed myself to receive from my Father before, right? And my expansion, your expansion, our expansion ripples forward to our children or our grandchildren, out to our neighbors, our family, behind to our lineage, to our fathers, our grandfathers, their grandfathers, right? Okay, so in this moment, anything that came up from the call that feels like it needs to move, give it the pathway down to your feet. Open your feet up if you would like to, and then just send that energy into the earth, down into the roots. For some of you, this may feel like a fire hydrant right now, but in reverse. Awesome. Awesome. Move it. It's energy that might have been trapped for a long time. Send it down and into the earth, right? And then allow the earth to purify all of that energy that we collectively just handed over. It's so funny. My visual of her is always with her palms open and up. She's like sitting in the dirt looking at us with her palms open going, give it to the mother, right? Hand it over. So she delights in recycling and purifying with us. So as you send that down and out, imagine it can be purified. And then allow yourself to receive the support. So feel from the bottoms of your feet how you can reverse the direction. You can pull from the earth. Love, support, nurturing from the mother. Understanding, awareness. Right? I picture her as when my children were little and they would come to me after they fell down and all they wanted was just to be scooped up, right? Patted, told them it's going to be okay. That's all they wanted. So just feel yourself receiving that level of support through your feet up into your legs, running all the way up into your hips. You can give that energy a color, a texture, a consistency. So feel it moving up through your chakras all the way through your body, up to your neck, down your arms, whale spouting out your palms of your hand or your fingertips, and then up through your neck all the way through the top chakras, coming out the top of your crown, and then whale spouting. Oh, this feels so beautiful. Whale spouting gently down the outside of your body, calming every nerve, every cell, every organ, every chakra, down to your feet and back into the earth. Yeah. Whew. Okay, I'm going to leave you here. My suggestion is if any of this felt intense to you, sit here and just run that energy for another minute or two. Let yourself transition from the call into your real life. Real life, because this was fake. That's real. You can just run the energy through your body and whale spout out the top again. If you have more you want to explore with your father, I'm just going to leave the phone lines open but muted until you feel like you're complete. Happy Father's Day. So much love from my heart to yours today.